Bautista and Michael Ruben Rinaldi, who has now dropped it down into 4th position. Now notice that Rinaldi was completing an installation lap. At the end of it, he's come into the pit lane, so he's obviously not happy with something, but that really affects Rinaldi in the latter stages of this session, perhaps just to give himself a little bit of room to get out there and have another go. Big moment there coming through the final 2 turns for Dominic Egerter, as he is up actually after 3 completed sectors. If he hasn't lost too much time there smoking up the rear tyre, he could be on for a place on the front row of the grid. Dominic Egerter on the number 77 goes provisional pole. Dominic Egerter on his Superbike World Championship debut pips Jonathan Ray to P1 at 129.635. Game on from Egerter. Toprak Razgatlioglu though looking good on his latest lap. Alex Lowe's as well set for an improvement. Remy Gardner likewise. Gardner goes up into P5. So Remy Gardner 5th position. Alex Lowe's and Andrea Locatelli on to try and join him. This is Toprak Razgatlioglu, the 2022 Superpole Award winner, working in tandem with teammate Andrea Locatelli to try and pull a hot lap out of the bag, and he's done so. That's brilliant from Razgatlioglu, a 129.400. He's less than a couple of tenths of a second away from the lap record set by Tom Sykes for pole position in 2020. So Razgatlioglu with a 129.4, that's going to take some matching. Bautista's already started his next lap. Remy slightly out of kilter with Razgatlioglu, having been the first man out onto the circuit for this final stint, but Bautista's a tenth of a second up after sector 1.
But there's also flags out at turn 4 as well for a rider that's just resumed. It looks like the flags have now come in, so that should be okay.
So that's going to cost Xavi Vierke his latest effort. Vierke running wide in that 2nd sector. So his latest lap aborted. Only 1 minute 10 on the clock now in Superpole. Bautista's lost a quarter of a second in sector 2, so it doesn't look as though he is going to be able to improve. Garrett Gerloff's just set a new personal best, but it's only good enough for 16th position. Dominic Egerter's latest lap, he's come across the line somewhat slur, 4 tenths of a second down on what he'd been able to do previously. He remains then in P2. But what a stunning start this has been from Dominic Egerter, and unless he can be pipped, he's looking good for a place on the front row of the grid. Bautista finding some ground again in sector 3. So what can Alvaro Bautista do coming off the final turn? Pole sitter here on Phillip Island, of course, last season by a couple of tenths of a second. He moves P2, displaces Dominic Egerter down into 3rd position. So it's Razgatlioglu who leads your session. He's not going to improve on this particular lap. He continues to follow around Andrea Locatelli on the number 55 directly ahead of him. Locatelli sits in 8th position. Rinaldi set to improve on his latest effort, and it is going to be his last one because the checkered flag is just about to fall.
It's going to be touch and go for Jonathan Ray to get through. He's probably not going to make it in for another lap. So Ray on the 2nd row of the grid with Philip Ertl and Remy Gardner right now.
That will end a run of 13 consecutive front row starts for Jonathan Ray. He is not able to improve from 4th position on the grid, so he could be further dropped here by Michael Ruben Rinaldi, who's running strongly in the final sector. The checkered flag has fallen. Last effort for Michael Ruben Rinaldi, and it's 6th position for Rinaldi, and by my reckoning that'll be his best ever effort here in Phillip Island on a single lap. His previous best was just 8th position. So Rinaldi, who wants to be considered a title contender for 2023, certainly needs to sharpen up his act in terms of Superpole performances. That's a first step towards it, a new personal best for his Phillip Island effort there.
Yeah, and could have been a little bit better from as well. Obviously we saw him have to dive into the pits at the end of that session there. So for Rinaldi, 2nd row of the grid, not the end of the world. You can see here the 2 Yamahas trying to improve. For Andrea Locatelli, he's down 9th fastest right now. He's been faster than that all the way through the week, so he's going to be disappointed with that.
Well, riding with Toprak on your tail certainly going to force you to push, but neither of these 2 riders are going to be able to improve, and I'm afraid that the positions were settled once Michael Ruben Rinaldi had crossed the line there. So Toprak Razgatlioglu, well, I said at the beginning of this programme, he said don't read too much into those times in the early stage of the weekend. When it's business time, he will pull it out of the bag, and he didn't disappoint there. That was stunning from Toprak.